Howdy everyone, and welcome back to the Luna Geeks Out channel. Today, we're checking out quite the surprise release, a new single from Sleep Token, Do You Wish That You Loved Me? Looking at the lyrics for this, and of course the song title, I expect some strong emotions coming from this one. I've heard some comparisons to Aqua Regia. I heard folks describe this as sort of an art pop song. So sadly not going into this on spoiler-free. I'm pretty sure there's no heaviness in this, unfortunately, but like, no matter what we get from Sleep Token, it's just some phenomenal music. So very high hopes for this. Very excited to check it out. So without further ado, let's hop into it. The start almost reminds me of one of the Minecraft music discs, of all things. Not sure which one, but there's one that has a similar sound.
Do you roll with the waves? Or do you duck into deep blue safety?
So it's like there's some very slight vocal distortion there.
Do you wish that you loved me? Do you pull out the chains? Or do you push into constant aching?
Minimalistic sound so far.
Do you wish that you loved me?
Bit more coming in. Drum beat, of course. Heavier distortion on the vocals. Very cool sound right there.
Is there something you give?
Yeah, a bit more layering taking place here. Really like that.
Do you know what it is? Do you wish that you loved me? Now are you trying to live like everything is a lesson to learn? Can you ever forgive yourself? Do you wish that you loved me?
There's some breathing layered in there. Very cool. Ooh, bit of bass in there. Nice. Let's go.
You conceal your feelings, they just don't exist. Do you ever believe that we can turn into different people? It's getting harder to be myself. Do you wish that you loved me? Could we ever release? Is it better to just not feel? Can we hit delete? Do you wish that you loved me? It's been so long that I'm forgetting what it
Interesting sound right here. There's distorted backing vocals, very cool.
You loved me. Do you wish that you loved me? Oh, do you wish that you loved me? 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 Oh, do you wish that you loved me?
Yeah, very interesting song. Minimalistic. I can definitely see why. I've seen some of my friends say that this is their least favorite of the singles so far. I think this is similar to Fall For Me, where it's like, again, very minimalistic, but it works. It actually really works. I quite like this one. I'll dive into this more in the review portion, of course, but yeah, I quite enjoyed this song. Super, super nice, and strangely upbeat as well for Sleep Token. But, of course, before we hop into the review, we need to talk about the lyrics, and there's a lot to dive into with these, possibly my favorite lyrics on the album so far, though I did really, really like the lyricism in Vor. That it's still just weird saying that song title. A lot of that stuff could be taken out of context. But, no, the lyrics in that song were really strong. And very Sleep Token-y with the mouth and consumption imagery, shall we say. But this one, super strong lyricism. So let's go through it pretty much line by line. Verse 1, will you scroll properly, please? Verse 1, do you roll with the waves or do you duck into deep blue safety? Getting some callbacks to this place will become your tomb, of course, with the ocean and water imagery. But there's two different ideas there. Do you roll with the waves, as in, go along with what's happening, sort of go with the flow in a sense, take what comes at you, that kind of thing, or duck into deep blue safety, going under the surface, going deeper, perhaps going further into pain, but to escape, to avoid that which is out there, the shifts and the changes and such, right? Is it always the same? Do you wish that you loved me? Do you pull at the chains or do you push into constant aching? The chains, of course, something that holds some kind of entity down, or whatever's chained up is held down, secured, but restricted. Do you pull at the chains trying to break free, or do you push into constant aching, going further, closer to the source of pain, in a sense, and closer perhaps to that which is imprisoning them? Each and every day, do you wish that you loved me? And at this point, I should say there's not a lot to dive into with that part, do you wish that you loved me? It's not so much a line that functions on its own. It ties into everything else in the song. After every point, it's that question again. After all of this, do you wish that you loved me? Right? And we'll dive into that idea later on, of course. Is there something you give, moving into verse 2 now, is there something you give that you will never receive in return? Do you know what it is? Do you wish that you love me? Something you give that you will never receive in return. Perhaps is love? I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what to grab from that one. Perhaps it's since this does seem to be Vessel talking to someone else in the verses, perhaps it's indifference and a lack of care that they're giving, that Vessel's never going to be able to return because they still care too much about this person. That does seem to fit with the ideas we've seen in Sleep Token. I believe it was Missing Limbs touched upon that a bit. It was either Missing Limbs or High Water. I forget which one specifically, but one of the two touched upon that idea a little bit, so perhaps that's what we're getting at here. I'm not exactly sure. Are you trying to live, are you trying to live like everything is a lesson to learn? Just further building up this idea, the perhaps going forth, looking back and taking something from the past, right? Taking a lesson. Can you ever forgive, in parentheses, yourself? Do you wish that you loved me? Looking at this person that they're speaking to in the song, perhaps saying that they themselves wronged Vessel in the past, and can they forgive themselves for that? And again, did they wish that they loved them? That perhaps there was no love in the relationship, and it's asking, do you wish that was the case? Can you forgive yourself for that absence? Something like that is what I'm grabbing there. Into the first chorus, and my reflection just won't smile back at me like I know it should. In the chorus, we shift into, I believe, Vessel sort of speaking to themselves and about themselves. My reflection just won't smile back at me like I know it should. I think is two things. One is, they know they perhaps should be happy, they should have good things in their life, and yet they don't. But also the fact that they should be healing, they should be recovering from this past relationship and from the trauma that seems to have come from that. But again, not doing so. That they should be smiling, they should be healing, they should be recovering, but they aren't. And I return into a stranger in an instant if I could. What I'm grabbing there is that idea that if they could, they would just become a different person than who they are, to not have to deal with this, to not have to suffer anymore, that kind of thing. If they could, they just turn into a stranger, like it says, into just a completely new person. And there is something eating me alive, so mouth reference again. They're everywhere in Sleep Token lyrics. I don't know what it is. Again, just there's this pain within them, there's this trauma, and they're not sure exactly what it is that's causing it. They're not sure exactly what the root of that is. They just know the effect that it's having. Maybe not that you conceal your feelings, they just don't exist. Ties back into that first line. So we shift from not fully understanding what it is to getting an idea of what it may be. Not that this person concealed their feelings, not that they loved them and didn't show it. The feelings don't exist. They didn't love them. Hence, do you wish that you loved me? Because in actuality, perhaps they did not, right? So, I love that final line right there. Again, let me just read that off one more time. Maybe not that you conceal your feelings, they just don't exist. Oh, that's some good stuff. Some dark, depressing stuff, but some good stuff. Moving into verse 3. Do you ever believe that we can turn into different people? And then the section after that as well, it's getting harder to be myself. Do you wish that you loved me? Ties back into, I believe, that line. And I would turn into a stranger in an instant if I could. The desire to change and the question being presented of, is that possible? Can we change? Can we grow? Can we become better people? Can we become different people? And can we move on beyond this? And tying into that idea of moving on beyond this, can we ever release? Is it better to just not feel? Can we hit delete? Do you wish that you loved me? Can we ever release? And can we hit delete? Moving on past the past and perhaps getting rid of it. That this never happened. Removing the effects that came from that, or removing those memories. And then, is it better to just not feel? The question of this pain, this trauma, would nothing be better than this? Because there may be good memories associated, there may be joy associated, but there's a lot of pain and trauma as well. Like I said, a lot of sadness, a lot of sorrow. Would it be better to just not feel any of it? Very interesting question right there, and it ties into some ideas of depression as well. There's definitely, at least from my own experience, that just depression, there's definitely times to be like, oh man, it sure would be nice to just not feel anything right now instead of this. You know what I mean? So good stuff there again. Moving into the second chorus, it just does shift things up a bit, and it's been so long that I'm forgetting what it feels like. I think looking back on that relationship and the love that they felt, it's been so long that they're forgetting what that felt like it says there. But I'd rather not remind myself and leave it all behind. I think is a desire to move forward. They'd rather not remind themselves of this. They'd rather move on, leave it all behind, like it says there. And I've tried so hard to fix it all, but nothing seems to help. I think is sort of looking at, again, a lot of the stuff in this song is sort of a reflection on the past, and I think a reflection on the past discography as well. A lot of the working through all of this that Vessel has done, a lot of the expressed desires to return to what things once were, to fix this past relationship, nothing seems to help. None of it has worked out. But I cannot hope to give you what I cannot give myself. That is a strong line right there. What I read with that is a simple idea of love, that Vessel is unable to love themselves, unable to accept themselves, that kind of thing, and so they're unable to give it to this other person. And at this point, I should clarify that, this is all speaking from sort of the lore, in a sense, that we've been given, not the sleep lore. I think that's interesting, but I honestly just prefer reading this through the lens of a past relationship, because let's be honest, sleep and the worship and everything seems to just be a metaphor for a relationship and for a significant other, and things such as well. So that's the lens I look at it through. We don't know how real any of that is. This could all be completely fictional. Of course, Vessel's identity is anonymous. There's folks out there who know who he is. Of course, I don't. I would like to keep it that way. I like preserving the mystery. So, I don't know if any of this is legit or not. When I'm speaking of a Vessel within these things, I don't want to make it clear that I am speaking of Vessel, the character, if you will, instead of Vessel, the actual person, the actual performer, the actual artist. Speaking of the character. And then, getting back into track on the analysis, moving into the outro, and for the most part, it is just, "Do you wish that you loved me?" repeated over and over again. But the other thing I want to point out is the sort of, not so much backing vocals, but secondary vocals, we'll call them. "Smile back at me, please." Again, I think just a desire for reciprocation with this. The desire for the love and the joy and things such as to be reflected back upon them from the person they're sending them out to. So not a lot to dive into in that outro, of course, but some good stuff in that outro, and some fantastic stuff in the song as a whole. Legitimately, having you sat down and actually talked about this now and just put into words the thoughts I had, legitimately maybe some of my favorite lyrics we've got from Sleep Token. Are just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But yeah, I mean, that's the analysis done, so let's hop into talking about the music, which is also absolutely beautiful. Minimalistic, a bit simplistic, but incredibly, incredibly strong. So the first thing to talk about is, of course, the vocals. Phenomenal, as is to be expected. Vocal. My mind is still reeling from an essay I wrote the other day. I'm a bit of an idiot these past few days, more so than normal. Vessel is one of my favorite vocalists, for good reason. Some of his strengths showcased here. Not the most impressive song vocally on the album. That, I think, still goes to The Summoning so far. Vor perhaps had the wilder, harsh vocals, and I do love that sort of bark he does at the beginning of, I guess, the pre-chorus. But, I mean, The Summoning, we had those rich highs, a couple different styles of harsh vocals, and it just really showcased his range. A lot of cool stuff going on in there. Obviously, this one was not up on that level, but very, very strong vocals. One of the things I loved was some vocal distortion in this. We saw that in the past, very heavily featured on Fall For Me. I almost want to say there's one other song that has featured them, maybe slightly unlike that. I want to say that one has a bit of a electronic edge to the music. Might have been something in Dark Signs as well, because again, a sort of electronic edge, but this one, it had this vocal distortion where it made the vocal sound almost a bit more electronic in a sense, where it wasn't like just auto-tune or whatever, which is not necessarily a problem. There's artists that take that sort of stereotypical auto-tune sound and actually make it sound really good, but it was adding an effect to the vocals very slightly, very subtly. I could be going insane with this, to be fair, but I really liked that. We had a couple points where it became a lot heavier, which was really cool, and then we had some backing vocals and such, which were phenomenal as well. There's some vocal layering that really added a lot of depth to what was happening. And then just the general delivery of this stuff, especially of that central line, "Do you wish that you loved me?" just hit so hard. Loved the vocals in this track. Just beautiful. The guitar, unless I'm crazy, was not a thing in here, so I won't talk about that. The bass, rather subtle, but very, very good. Great tone to it. What I heard that it was doing as far as the actual sort of tune goes was really nice. Very subtle, just creating sort of a backing in this song. Some of the songs have had much more, I suppose, rich bass, but the stuff we got in here with the bass was great. And then the drums, again, a bit simple, especially for Sleep Token, but very, very good. Just a solid beat in the background, great sound to them, and really supported the minimalistic sound of this song. Finally, we had the electronic elements, super cool. Like I said, reminded me a little bit of one of the Minecraft music discs. If I can figure out which one it was that I'm thinking of, I'll edit it on screen. I don't actually like the music discs as much as I do the rest of the Minecraft soundtrack, and perhaps it's just one of the songs on the soundtrack I'm thinking of. It might be Aria Math, if I'm pronouncing that one right. I don't think it is, but it might be. But there's a Minecraft song that the sort of central element within the music reminded me a lot of. Very weird connection to make, perhaps, but, you know, we've had some game tie-ins before with Sleep Token. This place will become your tomb, I believe folks have pointed out, is a quote from one of the Halo games. A lot of folks have said that the characters for the upcoming album, Take Me Back to Eden, have a sort of Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Bloodborne kind of vibe, so a Soulsborne vibe, I suppose, which I can definitely see. A lot of folks have pointed out that Vessel's current appearance kind of looks like Hollow Knight, which I really gotta play that one of these days. Looks like such a fun, also such a frustrating game. I'm sure there's been other ones, they're not coming to mind, but I think we can pretty safely assume that the broad Sleep Token team is composed of a lot of gamers, so I would not be surprised at all if some Minecraft influence was actually a thing on this music. That would actually be really cool. But yeah, it reminded me of that, and that made me very happy to get back on track. The stuff, I don't have much more to say beyond the fact that it reminded me of Minecraft, but really liked it, Again, just absolutely beautiful. The song as a whole, I already talked about this a little bit in the sort of immediate thoughts section, but just beautiful song. That's not the word that's not what I was trying to say. I mean, it is a very beautiful song, but a very minimalistic song. I made the comparison to Fall For Me, not so much sound-wise, because those are very different songs, but in the sense that it's a very minimal song, doing just very limited things taking place in it that allow what is happening to really come to the forefront, you know. And so, how do I want to phrase this? So that is something that can drive folks away. Fall For Me is not one of Sleep Token's particularly popular songs. Like I said, I've seen some friends say that this is, if not their least favorite off of the album so far, it's one of their least favorites. I've seen this one at Ocarina put right at the bottom, sort of interchangeably by many of my fellow Sleep Token friends. And so it is something where I can see why it's not doing it for people, right? I mean, I love the metal side of Sleep Token. That's the stuff that really gets me going. A good breakdown, things like that, right? But for me, it's the pop stuff, or the more pop-oriented stuff that really, really just brings me in, where it's like, alright, you got some cool metal, but this stuff, this is unique. This is really doing something different in the metal scene, and this is what really grabs me. So this is very much just a personal taste thing, but I really liked this one. I can see why folks may not like it as much, but this one did it for me. This was a great song. Yeah, just, again, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I think I'm out of stuff to say. Oh, no, one more thing to say. Very emotional song as well. I was hoping we'd get something that's very sad, right? We haven't had that yet on the album. Both Granite and Ocarina slightly touched upon that, much like this one did slightly, but we haven't had anything that's gone full, say, levitating, or levitate? I think it's levitate. Bloodsport, Atlantic, High Water, whatever. We haven't had the ones that really, like, are just sort of a gut punch, you know? I was hoping we'd get that here. What we got instead was more bittersweet, almost, where there was a lot of pain wrapped up in this, a lot of sorrow, but also an element of acceptance and growth and perhaps even healing. And it wasn't the emotion I was necessarily hoping for going in, just because Sleep Token do have some just heartbreakingly beautiful songs, you know? I was hoping we'd get something like that, but I think the emotion we got in here was something sorely needed. Yeah, just, again, I'm just gonna wrap this up by saying a thing I've been saying a lot. Absolutely beautiful. But, at this point, I actually am out of things to say on the song. So, it's time to talk about what we're checking out next time. This interrupted the normal picker wheel schedule. This would have been, this video took place where we would have selected something from the picker wheel. And I could go and just do picker wheel for the next reaction, but we've been doing the every other reaction is a Baby Metal reaction schedule for a little while, so that is what it is going to be for the next one as well. We will be checking out the Legend, I believe it is, final track on the other one. One I have heard is wild. Very excited to check that out, and there'll be one more Baby Metal video after that with their recent first take performance of The One, which it should also be fantastic. But yeah, Baby Metal reaction next time. So yeah, nothing much to say on that, but it'll be super fun. That's what we'll be doing next time, so hopefully y'all will stick around for that. But I am now out of things to say for the video, so that is going to do it. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like if you liked, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below with your own thoughts of the track, any feedback or criticism, or anything you want me to react to. In the description, link to the song so you can check it out, support the artist, link to my Sleep Token videos playlist, my rock and metal reactions playlist. I think that's all that this is going into. There will be playlists down in the description, whatever ones it ends up in, that will have similar content from me, so you can check that out if y'all are interested. And then there are links to my Discord server, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify playlists, of all the songs I've reacted to, at least the ones up on Spotify, and my Linktree, which has my other stuff in it, in case any of that interests y'all. Anyways, like I said, that's going to do it. So once again, thank you all for watching, and until next time, I'll be seeing ya.